The good news is I'm not going to be president.
There you go. Right. There's a good chance. There's a solid chance I won't be president of the United States.
Hey, the intro is visual to your mind. Sit back, relax, and feel the vibe. I think about what I'm going through. I wouldn't be nothing without my guy. Gotta keep my eyes on the prize. I struggle and strive to survive. I'm just trying to make it. Gotta stay strong because these times so hard.
What's up, guys? Sergeant G here from the Stone Vet, man. It's Friday again. It's getting cold in Oklahoma, man. That cold front came through, and boy, it's barking right now. But like I always say in the introductions and even in my descriptions of the videos, it's always nice. The weather's always nice. It's that Friday night, regardless if it's been a hard week or an easy week. This is that time we get together. We put on the barbecue, get some beer out. If you prefer to smoke some of the cannabis, you roll you a fatty or light you a nice bowl. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. This week, I'm able to bring on James here. James is a 6-year Army veteran, man. He's just like us. He did his time. He said, 6 years, I'm done, dude. I said, I did my 9. I said, I'm done. I can't do this no more, you know. And the Army plays pretty stupid games. They're a lot like the Marines. They ain't as good, but I mean, they play a lot of stupid games like the Marines do, you know. And so I'm bringing James on because James here's lived a peculiar life, man. He's had his struggles just like everybody has after getting out of the military, and he's been through some things that makes you wonder, like, man, damn, what took you to that point, you know? A lot of times we deal with stuff and we get to a point and we always wonder, like, how come you didn't reach out and call me? Because we stubborn as hell. We don't want to tell people about our problems. We don't want to talk about our problems with anybody because we think people make fun of us, you know? Whatever the case may be, it's our pride. We get too prideful because guess what? We vets. Some of us are war vets. Some of us are just vets that served in the military and never went anywhere, but we're too prideful, man. That's how they built us. Remember, you went to boot camp, they broke you down, and then they built you back up the way they wanted you to be so that you could take on the mission. When the mission came down, they knew they could rely on you. But I got James here. He's got a book out, man, about his story. That's pretty phenomenal, man. You definitely need to check his book out and stuff. But I'm gonna let James talk about his life. What's going on now? What happened after he exited the military? How did he find his purpose after leaving active duty and actually realizing, crap, I ain't got nobody to tell me what to do anymore? Hey, James, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing now.
Gladly. As you said, my name is James, 6-year Army veteran. I will say one thing. I didn't get out willingly. I was medically discharged in 2005. The Army broke me and said, okay, we're done with this toy. Let's send him home. So
that's usually how it happens, man.
That's the way it works.
When they're done with you, they let you know they're done with you.
And they don't say it nicely. In January of 2005, I went to talk to my doctor, and I'd had surgery twice, and it was getting ugly again. And I went to talk to the doctor, and I was like, what can I do? And the doctor looked at it and said, well, we've got 2 choices. Choice number 1 is I could do surgery again. Now, this would be a 3rd knee surgery at this point. Man. Choice number 2 would be we put you out of the Army and let your knees heal on their own. At this point, I will admit, I did have a little bit of say in this. I said, you know what? I've been messed around long enough. I'm done. Just go ahead and do it. I'm not going to fight it.
Right. And
he said, okay. That was in January of 2005. By May, I was out.
Dang, that was quick, man. They're quick to move, weren't they?
Yeah, they're quick. I heard people tell me that once you start the medical discharge process in the Army, it can take a long time.
Yeah, usually.
And sometimes it can, but literally from January to May.
That's
gone.
Quick, man. I know a couple of people in the Air Force that they had a medical discharge, and it took them years. It took them a couple of years to get all that. I was like, man, you might as well just finish out your contract and screw the damn medical discharge. You got to stay in anyways, you know?
Honestly, I will admit I got a little bit of lazy in me. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
And whenever they were talking about medical discharge, I was like, okay, so I'm going to do a desk job for a couple of years. I can do this. I'll admit I got a little bit lazy in me, and then they would just start pushing it through. And before I literally walked out the door from the Army and my head spinning going, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
The first couple of weeks I celebrated. You talked about not having people tell you what to do. Those first couple of weeks, that's a good feeling.
I think that's what we all do when we get out. When our time comes to an end, we take a couple of weeks just to breathe and be like, man, I ain't got to worry about waking up at a certain time. I don't have to worry about going out and running at a certain time. I can do whatever I want. And then after a while, it's like, damn, I missed that structure because I ain't got no purpose now. Now it's like, what am I supposed to be doing, you know?
Well, I mean, with a lot of us, it can get a little bit worse too, because in basic training, one of the biggest complaints you'll hear is my recruiter didn't say it'd be this way. I never really complained about the recruiter until I got out, because he perfectly prepared me for basic training.
Okay.
He said, this is going to suck. You're going to cuss me, and that's okay.
Right.
And I was like, this wasn't that bad. I went through basic training in Fort Benning, home of the infantry. We had some really good training, and I was like, I can do this. This is not a problem. I guess he prepared me for it. But one thing he said was, when you get out, people will line up to hire veterans because veterans are in high demand in the civilian workforce. And then I get out and I can't buy a job.
Ain't that crazy?
I was a commander's aide the last little bit. I worked in the training room supervisor. I had people that worked for me. I was a direct leader of soldiers. I had all these office skills that I could use. But when I got out, I didn't have a college degree, so those office skills meant nothing.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I mean, like I said, I've been teaming up with Veteran Trash Talk. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a bunch of Army guys too. They're a bunch of Army guys that started their own podcast and have their own group and stuff like that. And that's one thing we were talking about a couple of weeks ago is education, man. That's one thing they stress about is you got to get, when you're in the military, you got to do all this training. You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and if you're not going through and trying to get some kind of certificate out of it or some kind of certification out of it, you're pretty much wasting your time. And like you're saying, he's like, I was doing all this work, but I didn't have no certification saying that I knew what the heck I was talking about.
Now, I can't put that on the Army. They did tell me to do this, and this was me. But I didn't expect it to be, looking for office jobs. I was like, I can work in an office. I can set up a database. I can go down the list of all the things I'm expected to be able to do. I could do those things because I was self-taught, because I had to be.
Right.
So let me tell you something. When a commander comes out and says, get this typed up in 10 minutes, you're going to learn to type fast.
You're going to learn to type real fast, right?
But along with that came with an identity crisis.
Oh, man.
The identity crisis, I mean, you're a Marine, you know what I'm talking about. The Marines are the only branch that does this, and I think it's amazing. You're always a Marine.
Always.
You will never be an ex-Marine. I am
Never.
Looked at as an ex-soldier. I'm a veteran, but the Marines, you're always a Marine. You have that identity. I got out of the Army, all of a sudden, where's my identity?
Right.
My identity was wrapped up in that uniform I put on every day, even though I thought it sucked a lot of days.
Oh, yeah.
My identity was wrapped up in what I did, even though there's days I hated my job. My identity was wrapped up in me being a soldier.
Right.
And it was gone.
Yeah.
And add to that, I couldn't find a job. So I was medically discharged, so I wasn't good enough for Uncle Sam, and I was not able to find a job, so I wasn't good enough for the civilian sector. So my mind starts swirling around this concept of, dude, you ain't good enough.
Right, and I think that's what happens. I mean, especially after you serve your time, like you said, when you're medically discharged, now you're like, damn, I can't get a job to save my life right now. And all these people always talking about, oh, they want to hire veterans, they want to hire veterans. But what they ain't telling you is that a lot of people don't want to hire veterans because they know you went through a lot of crap and I can't afford to have you working for my company. And then all of a sudden you snap on somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Now I got to write a police report or whatever the case may be. And now I've got to fire you because your PTSD kicked in, and now my employees, that my other employees that I have on staff are scared to work with you. You know?
I'm not sure how familiar you are with Boone Cutler, but 6 years ago he did a video he called "Big Dogs to the Front." It's not on YouTube; it's on Vimeo. I watch it every once in a while, and he brings up a very valid point in this video. It's not PTSD; it's PTSD phobia.
Yeah.
Because someone who went through a violent crime has PTSD.
Yep.
Someone who went through a car accident has got PTSD.
Right.
That is never part of the hiring process.
No, it's not. It should, and it shouldn't be.
But you're a soldier, you're a veteran, you might snap and kill someone.
Exactly.
But that self-doubt that goes into your mind has a name to it. And that name is imposter syndrome. You honestly don't feel you're good enough. You feel like you're a fake, like you're a fraud, and you're just faking your way through this, and you're not good enough to get a job.
Right.
And that is what, because you talked about we don't reach out to each other, and that's 100% true. But the reason we don't is because of imposter syndrome. Because we've convinced ourselves, number one, everyone else is going to think I'm a fake if I ask for help. Number two, I already think I'm a fake. And then number three, the cherry on top is I have to get it right the first time, or this proves I'm a fake.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, especially like us military members. That's what we do, is that we're always, you got to go and you got to get it done. Don't ask for help. You have to make sure you get it done. You know what you're doing, and so we never really ask. We never reach out for help. We never say, hey, and then you go ask a civilian that's never understood where we came from or our walk of life and say, hey, can you give me a hand real quick? I'm having some trouble with this, or whatever the case may be. And I think, like I said, we get too prideful. We're too prideful in who we are and what we do, what we're doing, to ask somebody, hey, I need some help with this, man. Like, I'm struggling. My wife made it a point one day, is she made a valid point. She's been with me for 20 years. She was with me before I joined the military and after I got out. She's still with me today. And I'm blessed beyond all measures.
Give that woman a medal. I mean,
absolutely, man. No, absolutely. Because she made a valid statement. She's like, she's like a 5-gallon bucket of water. She said, fill that thing up with water. Mm-hmm. She said, let it get so full, you add one more drop and see what happens. She said, everything just flows over, right? Because it's too full. And that's what we do as veterans in life. We just throw it in the bucket and we just keep filling it up and filling it up and filling it up until that one day, hey, we do snap and people are like, that dude's crazy. I'm like, dude, you don't even know what the hell he went through to get to that point to where he was like, I'm done with this nonsense. I can't deal with these people anymore. I can't do this anymore. And it's hard, man. Trust me, it's hard. Living a civilian life is hard because there's no structure. Nobody has structure. Everybody does whatever the hell they want to do, and they don't care about the rules and the regulations. They're just going to do whatever they want. And I think that's the hardest part, is just trying to accommodate and live a regular, normal life, like what these people call normal. It's hard to sit there because we've been structured to have discipline, and everything has structure around it. You know?
100%. Yeah. And that goes back to the identity crisis, because you've got the structure, you've got the rules, you've got the regulations for the military. And then you've got, as you said, civilians who don't have that same structure. And it's just two different, you're trying to fit into their world and you're not going to.
Right.
And like I said, imposter syndrome, you feel like you're a fake, so you're not going to reach out. And let me tell you something, and you can bleep this if you want to. I don't cuss very often, but that's bullshit.
No, yeah, absolutely.
That is 100% classic bullshit, that you're not good enough. Let me tell you something. If you're watching this, I don't know if this is video or audio only, but if you're watching this or listening to this podcast, let me tell you something that you need to write down. You're not a fake. You're not a failure. You're not messed up. You are a masterpiece. It is time you act like a masterpiece. You are human. You're going to mess up. You're going to fall on your face. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. As you talked about the book earlier, that's something I put into the book, is you are human. Let yourself be human. Let yourself experience those mess ups. Let yourself experience those failures, and then reach out to someone who you know can support you and who you know will support you. Get yourself that tight-knit group of people. Don't just go to anyone. Find someone you know can support you. In the Army, we call that a battle buddy.
Right.
Get yourself a battle buddy. Find someone that will listen to what you have to say, give you the truth, tell you to pull your head out of your ass and
Right?
march
That's the biggest
on.
thing, man. That's what I'm doing with the Stone Vet. That's why I try to stress to veterans. Hey, brother, build your community around you. I said, nobody's gonna help us. The only people that are gonna help us are our own. People don't understand us. People don't know our walks of life. People don't understand what we went through, regardless if you deployed or not. Regardless if you stayed stateside or you actually went to the desert or the damn mountains or where the hell you went, your brothers and your sisters to your left and your right, they understand. They know the crap you've been through and they can relate to what you're dealing with on a regular basis. That's why I always stress, build your community around you. You know, not all of us like the same thing. Some of us like skateboarding. Some of us like working on cars. Some of us like working on diesel engines, whatever the case may be. But find what you're into and start associating yourself with civilians that are doing the same thing you like doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm part of a Facebook group. It's called I'm High and I'm Crafting. I mean, I was like I said, I love the bud. I love weed. That thing saved my life so many times that I don't even know. I can't count no more, you know? But
see, I can't touch it because just smelling it makes me nauseated.
See, and some people it does, you know, but for me, I mean, with my friends, my associates, my friends, my family, they said every time you smoke, you are the coolest guy to be around. I really love having you around. Like, you are a lovable person. You don't care. You're enjoying life. And I said, yeah, because it allows me to escape the mentality, escape all my mental images that I struggle with on a regular basis. It allows me to escape from there and actually enjoy the life that's right in front of me, you know? And so that's the struggle that I believe a lot of people are trying to find. Is like, what am I supposed to do now? What is it? So you said that you wrote a book. What is your book? What is that about? Tell us a little bit about the book that you've written.
The book I wrote is called Finding Your Personal Mission. It is available on Amazon. If it's the video, you're going to see this in front of my face. You're welcome. You're not seeing my face. Finding Your Personal Mission is all about transforming your mind to overcome suicidal thoughts. And when I say transforming your mind, I'm talking about going after the obstacles that lead to suicidal thoughts. Like I said, imposter syndrome, anger issues. If you're a veteran and you don't have anger issues, count yourself lucky.
Right. Absolutely.
Attitude problems. I will never admit to an attitude problem, but I know I have one. I mean, just down the list of things that will lead to to your mind thinking, well, maybe this world would be better off without me.
Right.
That's the focus of the book, but it's also motivational. It talks about one of my favorite chapters is called Watch Success and Grow.
Yep.
Now, I can guarantee one thing about you that I know already is true, is that you want to live and you want to live a full life, correct?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. You have it in your mind what that means for you. And it's going to mean something different for you than it will for me. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because it's you. Whatever it means to have a full life, someone is doing that.
Right.
If it's working on cars, someone's working on cars, someone's doing it. Find what that person is doing right and copy it.
Right. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
call it the McDonald's principle, honestly, because McDonald's takes things other people are doing right, like the salads, the shakes, all this other good stuff, the cafe. Hey, Starbucks has got a cafe. We're going to make a cafe. Find what other people are doing right and do that, and you will be successful.
Right. And that's the biggest thing is what I had Travis on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about, he's a nonprofit architect. So he helps people start nonprofits. He helps people establish nonprofits, but that's what he specializes in. But if you actually go to his website, his YouTube channel, his podcast channel, wherever you get podcasts from or whatever, he actually has insight for businesses. Like if you listen to it, because a nonprofit is a business. It's a business. You have to run it as a business. You have to have your flows of income in order to ensure your nonprofit is successful. And that's what he stresses about because that's what he specializes in. But if you listen to it, you start finding that, damn, I could do this for my business as well, not just a nonprofit. And I think the biggest thing is that with us is that we have, like you're saying, if you see somebody doing it, do it and freaking be a competitor with them. If you don't associate yourself with people that are doing what you're doing, then how successful do you think you're really going to be if you don't know, if you're not picking their brains and asking them questions? How'd you do this? How'd you go about doing that? I like what you're doing there. What did you do to get to that level of success? Like, and a lot of people who are successful, they like telling people how they did it because they're like, I made it and this is how I did it. This is what I did in order to become successful with what I'm doing.
That's right.
You know,
I like T.D. Jakes said one time, you need to be around people that challenge you.
right. Absolutely.
You need to be around someone that makes you study. You need to be around someone that makes you squirm, that makes you want to be a better person.
Right.
To catch up with them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest struggle with people is that, like I said, we're too prideful. We don't like asking for help. We don't like looking outside of our wheelhouse to say, hey, buddy, how'd you do that? What are you doing about that? I mean, look at me. I started a podcast. I don't know anything about running a podcast. I said, I like talking with people. I like helping people out. You know, I like to help my brothers and sisters. And my biggest goal is to try to help reduce that number of 20 to 22. You know, now it's 53. Trying to reduce that number and trying to actually have a podcast to where, hey, just turn it on while you're cleaning the house and you can have us talking in the background and just listening in and seeing what is out there. You know, there's other, I try to bring on as many vets as possible that I can that are either running a small business or living life or have been through some dramatic life changes since serving in the military, you know, just to help, just so they feel like, man, I got a brother right here just hanging out with me. I can feel safe because he's here talking with me. And that's the biggest reason of the Stone Vet is to, like I said, help build my community. The more people I can reach out to, it's like you. I don't know you. I've never met you before, James. But here you are. You signed that same dotted line I signed and said, I will take a bullet for you. Right?
That's right.
I will take a bullet for you. And there, I can relate to you. I can relate to some of the struggle. I can't relate to everything, but I can understand some of the struggles you've dealt with and how you're living life now, you know? And that's the biggest thing I think is that we're too prideful to actually reach out and say, hey man, I need some help today. It sucks. You know, regardless if you're going through a divorce or the job you're at is just they're screwing you over, you know, and you're just like, I'm just tired of this. I'm gonna break somebody's neck or whatever the case may be, is that we need to be able to reach out and build our community. That's why I started the Facebook group, because I mean, we're all over the place. Vets are everywhere. All 50 states. There's vets in all 50 states. You know what I'm saying? And so if I can build my community through my Facebook group, hey, maybe there's somebody on there that you didn't realize lives so close to you that you can actually be like, hey, dude, you want to go get a beer or you want to go you want to go eat some dinner tonight? I'm having a hard time and I need somebody to talk to. And I like to be able to open up to you if possible, to be able just to get this crap off my chest so it doesn't eat me away, you know, because like I said, he starts eating you away and everything piles up. And then, you know, then it gets a dark day. The dark days come and it's not good. And that's what I'm trying to do is help reduce that, you know?
100%. Yeah. We talked so far about the book and how it affects or how it addresses the veteran.
Yeah.
It has one more mission to it, because you talked about this a couple of times, how veterans don't reach out for help.
Right.
Because we're stubborn.
Right.
I will own up to being stubborn very quickly. I have no problems. I am Scottish and Irish and
so you all the whole thing, right?
German. So they're so stubborn. Let me tell you, when those families met, there was some alcohol present.
I bet they had to have been, man, with all those guys together.
But here's the thing. It isn't just about encouraging the veteran to reach out for help. If you're in a good place, you need this book too, because this empowers you to ask those questions. This empowers you to be there for your veteran friends, because they're not going to come to you. Someone who's looking at suicide, I tried it twice, once in 2005, once in 2007, almost tried it a third time in 2017. It was by a miracle that I found the courage to reach out to someone that night. A literal miracle that I found that courage. People just don't reach out to ask for help. That's a simple truth.
Absolutely.
So rather than beat them over the head saying, you need to ask for help.
Right.
Okay, let me encourage you. Yes, you need to ask for help. But you who are in a good position, you need this too, because you need to be empowered to approach your veteran friend and say, what can I do to help?
Right.
Not a, hey man, call me if you need anything. That's old news. It doesn't work.
Right. What
can I do to help?
Absolutely.
And you're going to get some pushback. No, I'm good. Shut up.
Right.
Now, tell me what I can do to help.
Absolutely.
I see you going through some hard times. I want to help. I want to get you back on solid ground. Let me help you. That's what you need to do. And this book empowers you to ask the hard question and then sit down, shut up, and listen to the hard answers. You get somebody that says, I'm thinking about putting a gun in my mouth. Oh, no, shut up.
Right.
Really, what can I do to stop that? Because I really want you here.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what we need to do. Start the conversation, sit down, shut up, and encourage them. That's what was done. That's what was done for me.
Awesome.
When I reached out in 2017, the person I spoke with said, if you're not much of a Bible person, just
I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of faith. I absolutely believe it. I believe in the Lord.
You and I both do, but this is also to your listeners.
Absolutely.
If you're not much of a Bible person, just listen for a second, because this gets good. He tells me about Ephesians 2:10. In Ephesians 2:10, it says, for we are God's workmanship, made in Christ Jesus to do good works. Now, he knew that I was a fan of swords, blades. I love bladed weapons. I always have. He said, what does it take for a weapon, for a sword, to be a masterpiece? I said, well, it has to be made by a master. Right. He says, okay, do we not call God the master?
Absolutely.
Well, I guess we do. He said, then you're a masterpiece, son. You're a masterpiece. And it's time you acted like a masterpiece. Right. I mentioned that earlier. That's where it came from. And then he told me the one thing that has been my mantra ever since. He said, your story is not over yet. And I loved that so much right then. I made a t-shirt out of it, and I even put it on the front inside cover of the book. Your story is not over yet.
It's true.
When someone opens the book, that's the first thing they're going to read. Your story is not over yet. You're still in the game. You can still beat this thing. You don't have to quit.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful thing. Hey, let's break to commercial break and thank our sponsor, Rafa 180, for allowing us to be able to shoot this show today.
We would like to give a huge thanks to Rafa 180 for being a sponsor. Rafa 180 offers pure medicinal CBD. They walk alongside individuals to achieve a healthy lifestyle with options needed by each person. You can learn more about them on Facebook at Rafa CBD, their website www.rafa180.com, or email at rafacbd@gmail.com. They truly believe your journey matters.
All right, welcome back, guys. Man, I hope you like that commercial about Rafa 180. Like I say in every episode, man, if you a veteran and you own a small business, or hell, even if your buddy isn't a veteran, but he owns a small business and you know he does good work where he's at in his area, let me know. Definitely email me. I'll keep the description down below on how to get in contact with me. Let's work together. Hey, let's try to keep the show on as long as possible so I can try to help you guys. You guys help me, I can help you, man. I'm coming back with James here. It's like he said in his book, the very first thing you read in this book is your story is not over yet. That's very inspirational. I mean, because I think there's times that we live this life that, damn, man, is it over? Is this it? Can I take my own life now? Because I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I'm worn out. I don't know I don't know what else to do. I've done everything I think that I can do within my power. But you're talking about how you're a man of faith and the Lord's told you that you are a masterpiece from the master that created you himself, right? Go on and tell us about this book. You wrote this book. How long ago did you write this book, and what drove you to write this book?
What drove me to write the book, I'll start there, is attempting the third time. I was accepted at the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. I started in January of 2018.
Oh, wow.
And up to that point, again, we talked about being alone, being a loner, trying to do things my own way, not reaching out for help, the prideful, stupid stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then I got into a college setting. And they have a group there called the Student Veterans Organization, which is a chapter of the Student Veterans of America.
Oh, wow. Are they all vets?
They are all vets. To be in the group, you have to either be a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, or a child of a veteran, but you have to be military affiliated.
Okay.
And being a full-time student, I could not write as much as I wanted to, especially taking classes like college algebra, because I hate math.
Absolutely. That sucks. Dude, I remember doing that myself. I was like, this sucks.
Letters and numbers living together is a sign of the apocalypse, and that is my official story. Someone actually posted, and I'll get back to my story here in a second, but someone posted something on Facebook months ago that said, here's another day with me not using math again. And me being me, I had to just tear that apart. I was like, so let's let X be the number of days. Ah, crap, I messed that up. And he calls me up and he's like, you are evil. That is wrong. But it was funny, huh?
Right. Absolutely.
But I started looking down the obstacles and I started writing them. And granted, me being a college student, I couldn't write as much as I wanted to.
Of course.
But the book was published in May. I graduated May 8th. The book was published May 20th.
Oh, wow. So you were able to do it while you was in school still. You were able to put enough writing on paper to say, this is good. We can do this.
I got it done. Late last year, I got the whole thing finished, ready to go. And then I sent it to the editor. And then in February, we started our launch procedures. And then, like I said, in May, we launched the book.
Wow.
And since then, it has been incredible.
Has it?
I can't say the book is flying off the shelves. I mean, especially since it's print on demand. But I can say that it's making a difference.
That's good. That's what you want to hear.
I get messages from people that will say, I love that chapter. It really spoke to me. And they'll give me real specifics.
Oh, wow.
In the anger chapter where you talked about forgiving yourself. I loved that because it really opened up something for me, and I was able to forgive myself. That's the big payoff for me. But right. I love to sell books. I would love to sell books. I still need to put food on the table, and I am a fat man. I love food. But the big thing for me is all about when someone says, your book made a big difference for me.
You saved that one life, man. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's what we struggle with as vets. Is like we always wonder, did we make a difference in somebody's life? Did we have an impact on somebody's life, regardless of what we've done? And like for you to get messages from your book saying, "Hey, dude, I can relate to what you wrote in this chapter. Like what you said about this, and this. I can relate to that." And he said, "I really appreciate you putting this out there because I thought I was the only one suffering with this. I thought I was the only one that dealt with this nonsense, And like we said, we're just too prideful, man. We're not gonna reach out for somebody and say, "Hey, dude, give me a hand real quick. I'm struggling right now,"
Exactly. As a matter of fact, speaking of that forgiveness chapter, I call it's the chapter on anger issues, but I call it the forgiveness chapter because it's all about forgiving yourself.
Right.
And phrase that I've heard it for years, and I don't even know who said it to start with, but the phrase is, "He who angers you controls you."
That is true.
You know, you might be thinking, well, if I'm angering me, I'm controlling me. Is that a bad thing? Yeah, actually, it is, because it's not your present you that's angering you. It's your past. You've done something. You messed up. I've messed up. And I have two choices. I can either let that fester and stay angry with myself, or I can say, you know what? I'm going to forgive myself. I'm going to move on and not make that same mistake again. Because forgiveness is not enabling. It's, I'm not going to hold this over your head. I'm not going to punish you for this. Let's put this in the past and move on. And that's the power of what Mark Gungor calls the reset button. You can use that for yourself too.
Okay.
But he who angers you controls you. Do you want to let your past control you?
Right.
Because let me tell you something. Whoever's controlling you is controlling your peace.
Man, you can't have that, man. You can't.
If I was mad at you for something you did, and I just kept that, and I just did not let it go, you've got my peace because I gave it to you.
Right.
Your past can hold your peace as well. And let me tell you right now, your peace is way too important to let anyone else hold it.
Right.
Your peace
Absolutely.
is too important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, with that, like you said, with peace, I mean, that's one thing, I think one thing we do struggle with. I mean, like you said, we have anger issues. We got anxiety, we got depression, we got anger. Anger is probably one of the biggest things that we struggle with. Us vets struggle with the most is anger. You know, we get angry over everything. If it's not going our way, we get mad about it. If it's going a different way, we get angry about it. And we're like, why is it going that way? Why is it not going the way we want it to go? You know,
Exactly.
but like you're saying, you have to find peace, and sometimes you just have to sit back and breathe and say, okay, I can't let this bother me. I gotta be able to move forward and just say, screw it. It happened. And there's nothing I can do about it.
And sometimes you just have to say, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay to not have it perfect.
Absolutely.
As far as writing the book, some of the chapters are very hard to write. The forgiveness chapter, hard to write.
What inspired you? What, like you said, it was hard to write your forgiveness chapter. What inspired you to write that chapter? Like, what was it that you were dealing with that actually said, you have to write this, and when it's hard, you keep writing?
I realized the obstacles that I was facing, and one of them was being angry with myself. And so as I was going through that, I was writing down what I went through. And when I got to the point that I was able to actually make that declaration, okay, past self, I forgive you. It sounds corny, it sounds cheesy, but it works.
Yeah, no,
you say, okay, past self, I forgive you. Once I got to that point, I was like, wait a minute. This is something that I can't be the only one that deals with this.
right.
So I started saying, okay, this is another one that's going to go in that bucket of imposter syndrome, the attitude, other obstacles. Let me put this one in there as well. And I started going over how I overcame it and what I learned from the lesson as well.
Right. So that, yeah, I mean, there's just with that, I mean, just understanding, like you said, we have a hard time forgiving. I mean, me being a vet, I've got a hard time forgiving, dude. You cut me, I'm gonna cut you back. That's how I look at it. I'll forgive you after I cut you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the biggest thing. I think, I mean, you know, and it gets hard, it gets frustrating. I mean, just with a lot of different things, man. Veterans are cutthroat, dude. I don't care who you are, what walk of life you're from. It's a personality. It's a personality thing. It's not just because you're a vet or this or that, but it's a personality that you have, and then you add being a veteran to it. You're like, dude, you're gonna cut me like that? Like, damn, really? It's gonna be like that? You're gonna cut me like that? And a lot of times it's just like, man, you know what? I love you because you're my brother, but sometimes it's like the saying goes, I want to see you eat, but you're not eating at my table.
And I know a few people like that too.
You know? So I want to see you eat. I want to see you be prosperous and you be successful in what you're doing.
Over there.
Yeah, but over there, I don't. You're not eating at my table. I said I'm working on my table. I'm making sure that my table's getting big and wealthy enough for me and my people. But you're not part of my people anymore. Like, you're gonna you take care of you, and I'll take care of me, and I'll do what I can to make sure that you're successful on your end as well. You know?
And people need to understand that's forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's I'm forgiving you, but you can't come back here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read this directly from the last part of that chapter, of the forgiveness chapter.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Take a moment to forgive others that have hurt you. You will find yourself healing the instant you do. Take a moment to forgive yourself also. Whether or not you believe you deserve it, do it. Whether or not you feel like it, do it. You'll be amazed the difference it makes once you truly forgive yourself and no longer hold your past misdeeds over your head. It's a license to let go of your mistakes and weaknesses while you push forward to finding and achieving your personal mission. When you're ready, the next chapter awaits. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this podcast and you have the thought that maybe the world would be a better place without you here, that's a lie.
Right.
Okay? Because the world is a better place because you are here. You bring something to this world no one else can bring.
Right.
I can't bring it. Sasha can't bring it. No one can bring this but you. If you don't bring it, we miss out. We miss out on you.
Absolutely.
And you might be thinking, well, that's just a bunch of mistakes and failures. Hey, yeah, I got them too. Okay.
We all got them.
I got them too.
One of the things that Coach Monty left with me was that your day comes to an end. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, it all comes to an end. And I was like, ain't that the freaking truth, dude? I said, I lost my son 17 years ago. Yeah, he'll be 18 this January. 17 years ago, I lost my son. You know, it was a malpractice that had happened. And so he was 8 months old when he passed away, 4 months after I got back from Iraq the first time. And those were some dark days, man. Those were some freaking horrific days that were just there. And it just goes through. And it's like you don't get over it. You'll never get over it, but you learn how to live life with it. You know, you learn how to deal with it when it comes up. You know what's bothering you and what you're dealing with, you know. But I think that was one of the most inspirational things, since Coach Monty is an inspirational speaker. That's one thing he said. He said, just remember, your worst days come to an end. The greatest days, they come to an end. And I said, it's true. It's fact. I mean, I got people I'm talking to right now, freaking so many people are going through divorces right now. And I said, I could never imagine that. Like I said, I've been with my wife for 20 years. I've got 7 kids. We got 7 kids together. And I was like, I screwed up. There's been times where we were going to divorce. There were times because I'm a freaking idiot. I was selfish and I took it upon myself to do whatever the hell I wanted to do and didn't care for her feelings at all. But she stuck around and she's still with me, you know? But I'm like, I'm amazed every day. I tell her every day, I say, I'm amazed that you're still here with me. I'm still amazed that you're still doing what you're doing. You're still dealing with me and still dealing with the things that I do to you, you know? I'm a work in progress. Just like you said, there's a masterpiece. You're a masterpiece, but you have to work on that masterpiece every day to ensure it continues to shine the way it's supposed to be shined, man. And so I appreciate this time together, James. I appreciate you being on here, being able to tell us a little bit, trying to give us a little hope, letting us know, hey, dude, there's a purpose for you on this earth. There's a reason that we're doing what we're doing. You being a veteran, boy, you have more reasons to be here than anybody else right now. You can provide a lot of resources to a lot of people that are needing your help. There's hope out there for you.
That's what I want to do.
Absolutely. With your book and everything. Before we get off the show, tell people where they can find your book. They can find some more information about you.
Okay. You can find more information about me at jamesmcneilauthor.com. That is where I have my blog post. That also has a connection to the Facebook page, facebook.com/findyourpersonnelmission. Not finding, this is Find Your Personal Mission.
Awesome.
And then the book is available on Amazon and Audible.
Okay, sweet.
If you're not able to read it, if you're too busy, I've got a couple of friends who are dealing with blindness issues, such as Richard Kaufman, others. If you are dealing with these and think, well, I can't get a book because I can't see, it's on Audible as well. All you got to do is listen to it.
That's awesome.
If you're too busy, it's on Audible. the Facebook page, if you want to bring me to your organization to talk about imposter syndrome, the anger issues, the things I've overcome, and help your people to overcome those as well, find me on the Facebook page or go to jamesmcneilauthor.com and send me an email. That's all you need to do.
Awesome.
And I will reach out to you and we'll make that happen.
That's awesome. Awesome, guys. See, I hope you guys gather that information. I will put everything in that description box down below so you can actually reach out to Mr. McNeil here and see if he can help you, help your company, if you own your own business, or if you know, hey, this guy would be inspirational for my work where I'm working at. I could bring this up to the boss and say, hey, we need this is the kind of information we need. Yeah, I'm sure you're probably doing Zoom conferences all the time too with all this COVID stuff that's going on as well, James. So
Zoom is the best way to do it, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. It's the best way to do it. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I've been doing it for a little while. It's kind of hard, especially when I got these little babies at the house. I can't bring anything into them. If I do, then the whole house go down and we're screwed all around, you know. But hey, guys, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to us. Definitely go hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell. Let you know whenever I upload these new videos every freaking week. You know, guys, you have a reason. You have a purpose, man. Remember that we are here for you, regardless if you come to my group, the Stone Vet, or you go to the thousands of veteran groups that are out there on Facebook that are trying to help vets to help support them in any way that they can. Remember, you have to build your community around you and what you like, your intake, what you were into and what you're not into. So you know who to keep close and who to keep at an arm's distance away. Just remember, here at the Stone Vet, we got your six.
Wonderful day. Hey, the intro is visual to your mind. Sit back, relax, and feel the vibe. I think about what I'm going through. I wouldn't be nothing without my guy. Gotta keep my eyes on the prize. I struggle and strive to survive. I'm just trying to make it. Gotta stay strong because these times so hard. And if you don't stay loyal right now, I'm chilling with my squad. You see me protecting myself.